Why are breakups good? I'm not somebody who likes to say that breakups are good. In fact, I fought against that idea for the longest time. I am somebody who wants to believe that every relationship can work out as long as two people are willing to work at it, that two people, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter what their life experience is, as long as they're working together to build on the relationship, it can work. So when somebody suggested to me in the middle of a breakup that this could be a good thing, I was like, hell no, I don't know what you're talking about. This is awful, this is horrible, and we should be repairing this relationship. We should be making it work because there's no reason for all of this pain. And yet, my partner did not feel the same way, and he was insistent that we break up, even though we spent 6 years together, even though we were engaged and made promises to each other and tried to work on it before. This was it. In his mind, it was over, and he did not see breaking up as a bad thing. Maybe he saw breaking up as a good thing. I did not. I mean, after all, isn't that the whole purpose of life, maybe? To get into a relationship with somebody, something meaningful, to experience love. And isn't that like the best feeling in the world? Can't we all agree on that? Well, as it turns out, my breakup with my last ex was actually a good thing, and I wouldn't say that it was the thing that I wanted the most. I wouldn't even say that it was the best outcome, but I would say that it was still a good outcome. Sometimes we get into relationships with people who have patterns in the way that they relate to people, existing patterns that are hard to change. Sometimes we have those patterns too. You might think of them as personality traits. They are things that are hard to change. They're things that are kind of inflexible, kind of rigid, but over time you can change them and you can make a relationship work, even if you have these maladaptive traits and these defense mechanisms that get in the way. The thing is, though, sometimes one or both people in the relationship, they are not willing to change those personality traits. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and it's painful sometimes to change the patterns of the way that we relate to people. So we have these patterns. We may have a poor way of getting intimate with somebody. We may keep too much distance, as in somebody who's more avoidant, more dismissive, more fearful, or we may give too little distance and we may get very clingy and try to stay on top of somebody all the time, as in somebody who's preoccupied or anxious, or maybe also somebody who's fearful. Basically, we may not have a great way of relating to people intimately, and that's okay. That may just be the way that we grew up. It could be the pattern that we fell into after experiencing something like trauma. It's just the way people are. However, if you're going to have a healthy relationship, you have to work through those things, and one or both people who have those personality traits have to be willing to work on them. Now, the bad thing is when you get one or both people, especially in a relationship, who have these maladaptive personality traits that aren't so great, that make it hard to have an intimate relationship with somebody, where things get confusing, boundaries are stepped over, boundaries are not enforced, then you have these maladaptive patterns between the two people, these interactions that keep repeating themselves over and over, where both people get hurt. And this is where a breakup can actually be good, because if you are stuck in these patterns of behaving with your partner, and you or your partner or both people are not adjusting, then you are repeatedly going through something that is harmful, that is hurtful to you, that can traumatize you potentially. If you repeat it over and over again, it may reinforce bad behaviors that you then carry out with other people. Generally, it's agonizing. Something to remember about breakups too is that they don't have to be permanent. You don't have to break up forever. You can give each other space and then work on things individually by yourself. And in this way, breakups are good when they allow the person or people in the relationship to grow, to introspect, to look at what went wrong, to figure out what was their part in things, to figure out how can they relate to people better. Of course, if someone's not doing that, then I would say a breakup is a bad thing, because nobody's learning anything and there's just a lot of pain involved. But if it gives people the opportunity to get rid of those bad patterns, get out of those bad patterns, especially if they are harmful, then it's a good thing. And I know that's hard to hear, especially if a breakup is fresh, but when you take that time to work on yourself, sometimes somebody better for your life will come in who doesn't have the patterns that activate you in the way that your ex did, that doesn't harm you in the way that your ex did, that maybe it's just a better fit. There's not as much work that needs to be done to get things to work out. And that's far in the future. I know that's scary to hear, But hold on to it if you're going through a breakup, because things will get better. Do you think that breakups can be good? Do you think the way that I think, that all relationships can work out? Let me know your opinions down below in the comments.